Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Christina here and today we are doing a November wrap-up. I got to town in November. This year has been very interesting with my reading. I didn't really actually start picking up majorly until June, July-ish, and I have to say the last several months, maybe the last 2 months alone, October and November have really amped up my game on my reading, so I'm very, very happy about it. But I ended up completing 19 books this month. Oh, that is more than I've ever finished in a year before, and now I'm on track to finishing almost 50 plus books for 2020, so definitely happy about that. So the 19 books that I finished, out of those 19 books, I did 2 audiobooks strictly, 8 audio and physical books. So kind of a read along with the audiobooks. I did 2 physical books, 6 graphic novels, and I actually, for the first time, DNF'd a book this month. So in total ended up being about 19 overall. You know, those were the ones I did. And then I'm just reading off my notes here. Out of those 19 books, I gave 10 a 5-star review, 5 a 4-star review, 2 a 3-star review, and then 1 1-star review. And obviously the one that I DNF'd, I didn't even bother. I gave it 0 stars. I didn't even bother reviewing it. So yeah, let's just dive right into the books that I actually did finish. I finished, let's see, the first book, and these are in no particular order to how I finished them. This is just how I'm doing them in the order. But the first book that I completed via audiobook and physical read is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Young, I believe her name is. I am going to do a pretty in-depth review about this book. This book was one of the 5-star reviews that I did. Very hard read for me to read of 2020. I'd say this was the hardest book I've had to read so far in 2020. I guess I didn't really have to read it. I was interested in reading it. I had it on my shelf that I haven't touched it yet. I just happened to finish it this month. So just kind of some brief overview of this. It is a fantasy book, and it definitely has the trigger warnings of domestic violence, sexual assault, rape, and incest, and a few other things. I'll just get into that during my in-depth review. But I gave this one a 5-star review, and I did finish it in November as a read-along with the audiobook. The next book that I finished, and this one was 100% audiobook, All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. It's like a mermaid pirate type story. It's fantasy. We'll just go with that. I gave it a 3-star review. I really enjoyed the aspect of the world building and the mermaids, but I will get into the nitty-gritty details in my detailed review, which once I do get that up and running, I will put a link in the description below. The next book that I kind of did a read-along audio book, if you will, is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I hands down gave this book a 5-star review. My God, I was creeped out by some of the parts with Naughty John, and I just absolutely loved and devoured every single one of these characters. I am hooked and obsessed, and I am ready to read book 2, Layer of Dreams, in this series. I am hopefully Black Friday shopping, and hopefully I am going to get a hold of the last 2 books of this series, and I will be doing an in-depth review. I'm also going to be doing a buddy discussion with my friend Nicole sometime in the near future. We are trying to still plan out those details because as adults, we just have crazy schedules, and it will happen eventually. So stay tuned for that. But I definitely gave this a 5-star review. Definitely recommend, and I will be talking about the juicy details in my full-depth review coming soon. Alright, the next book is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I actually started reading this in October and kind of like segued into November, so this was like one of the first ones I read in November. Hands down a 5-star review. I am going to do an in-depth review also of this one, but just to give like a brief overview, this is the prequel to the Hunger Games. We are following a young Coriolanus Snow, and it is the 10th Hunger Games, and we just get into the nitty-gritty of how he came to be President Snow, and it was absolutely fantastic. I loved everything about this book. I loved the fact that we had like a different perspective of Coriolanus, and just, oh, I'm going to get into way more detail in this in-depth review that I'm going to do. But yeah, so this next book that I finished in November was part of the Winter Night Trilogy read-along that is being hosted with Meg with Books, and I am so glad that I was able to be a part of that particular read-along. I know that we're going to get into the next two in the series, and I'm so excited for this one, but it is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I gave this one a hands-down 5-star review. I actually listened to this on audiobook, but it is a fantasy book that takes place in old Russia, and it is magical, it is amazing, it's fantastical. I absolutely love this book. I was so interested in Vasya and all of the characters and just the creatures and the magic system. It was just so good. But I definitely recommend, if you want something that's more wintry and like Christmassy and like late fall vibe-ish into winter, I definitely recommend you pick that book up, especially since we're about to segue into December here. Just definitely recommend that one. Alright, so the next one that I did a audiobook and read along with is The List by Patricia Ford. This one I gave a 3-star review. I didn't like love it, but I thought it was okay. I wish that there was a lot more of the censorship. It just ended up turning into this weird secret organization suicide mission thing, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't really make much sense to me, but I did like it. I loved like the whole like societal dystopian feel, and I just wish that there was like more of the censorship and all of that, but overall I gave it a 3-star, and I did finish this in November. This was also more of like an audiobook listen, but I did like follow along some points to read along with it, but it's Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. So I have never read anything from Tahara Mafi at all. I was very thrown off by the writing style because there was like these like random strike-throughs. I don't know if I can find it really quick. Yeah, here we go. So there's like these random like strike-throughs throughout the book, but as you're like listening to the audiobook, she like, the narrator like somehow like, you know, acts out like the strike-throughs. But yeah, I gave this one a 4-star review, and I will be talking a lot more about this in my in-depth review coming soon. So the next one that I also did a audiobook listen to, I think you've seen a trend here, and read along, was Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I gave this a hands-down 5-star review, and I feel like this has become my ultimate favorite mystery, thriller, YA category book series, and I am so excited about reading The Vanishing Stair soon. It's not even freaking funny. But we follow along with a girl named Stevie. She's admitted into this pretty exclusive boarding school, and she is admitted into this boarding school because of her amazing, awesome capabilities and intelligence into like true crime, and she really makes it a project to get down to the bottom of like this mystery murder that happened at the school, and she just like, the leaps and bounds this girl goes through just to figure this out is just like toss and turn, and like it just it's just like, it was very suspenseful, and I did not see the ending of that ending coming, and I'm not going to spoil it, but this book was really good. I really liked it, and I cannot say enough on how much I enjoyed this book. I am so glad that BookTube is talking about this, and I'm going to be yet another person that's going to talk about this till the end of time. I know I'm going to do a way more in-depth discussion in my other video, but for right now, to keep this short and sweet, see, I definitely gave this a 5-star, and I did finish this in November. Alright, so the last book that I read along and did an audiobook with is The Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. I realized in my last couple of videos I've been saying Rowling wrong. I apologize. I am late to the party on how to pronounce things, obviously. But this is the second in the Harry Potter series. I am going through month to month on reading through the series. I will be the first to tell you that I'm a super fan of Harry Potter. As you could see, I got my wand and all this stuff all over the place. And I've seen the movies a jillion times, but I've actually never taken an appreciation for actually carefully going through and reading books. So now that I'm an adult, I am now going through that. I really enjoyed this. I gave this a hands down 5-star review. I don't even know why I had to look at my sheet to even tell you that. But it's one of my ultimate favorites within the entire series, and I just absolutely enjoyed it. I was very, very much annoyed with Gilderoy Lockhart. I want to, squeeze and, bang his head, because I'm so annoyed by his character in this book. But I really enjoyed Death Day. I just enjoyed the Chamber of Secrets chapter the most. Dueling Club, I definitely enjoyed that. That was satisfying. And why is it that the movies did not include Peeves? What are you doing, Hollywood? I mean, come on. I love Peeves in this series, and I really wish that Peeves was in the movie franchise. I just don't know why that was a thing. I don't know why he was omitted. But I really am enjoying reading through the series. I am planning on continuing forward, and I cannot wait to continue forward with this. But let's see here. So, physical books. This one was an ebook that I had gotten from the Libby app. It is All Systems Red. It is the Murderbot Diaries novella by Martha Wells, and I hands down gave that one a 4-star review. I really enjoyed that one because we get the perspective of a murderbot, or an android, if you will. And he is funny, he is sarcastic, he is sassy beyond belief. And I just loved having a story that, depicts behind a robot. Where have you been in my life? But I gave that one a 4-star review, too. Alright, on to the graphic novels, because this is starting to get very, very long, and I really want to wrap this up. So, the graphic novels that I read, let's just breeze through them, and then you can see pictures as they come up. Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, 5-star review. Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, I gave that a 4-star review. Really enjoyed that one. It really reminded me a lot of a horror, fantastical, Grimm's fairy tale type vibe, but it was really good. It had little short stories, but it was really good. I loved the illustrations. It was a little chilling on some of the stories, but overall I really enjoyed that. I read Miss Marvel by G. Willow Wilson. I gave that a 4-star review. Again, right up my alley with the superhero vibe, and I actually was a little thrown off by this one because this one I thought followed along with Captain Marvel, which has Brie Larson and everything in it, and I was sadly mistaken. This particular graphic novel had a Pakistani girl as represented as the superhero, and I thought that was really cool. Kind of get a glimpse into her Pakistani family and her culture, and how she kind of migrates into this superhero, and I just really enjoyed it. It was a fun read. It was really quick too. But I also got that one through the Libby app, and I gave that a 4-star review. So I actually made time for these last 3, one of which was an arc, and I'll get into that one in a minute, but the first one that I finished was 300 by Frank Miller. I gave that a 5-star review. I've actually seen the movie, but I never got around to actually seeing his actual graphic novel, if you will, and though the print was kind of small, I just was absolutely in love with the illustrations and the coloring. Oh, so good. It was so graphic and so detailed. You could tell that he spent so much time on it. It was so, so good. it like follows along with the infamous 300, you know, like fighting against the Persians, and oh, it's so good. It was amazing. It was the 300 Spartans going into war, and you just have like this whole battle scene, and it was just like, oh, so good. So if you're into that kind of thing, I definitely recommend Frank Miller. He is very, very talented at what he does. So gave that a 5-star review. Next one was the arc that I mentioned. It is called The Last Halloween by Abby Howard. I gave that a 5-star review. Damn girl, you are talented beyond belief when it comes to the illustrations. Apparently, before I got a hold of this arc, apparently I was looking into the author, and she actually has like a Patreon, and she has like this fan base. She used to do like fan fiction like illustrations and just did like one-off like cartoons and stuff. I will link all of that in the description below as long as I have the capacity of putting it in there. If not, I'll put a card up or something. But yeah, like I just was like floored by like the illustrations alone. It kind of gave me like a vibe of like Teen Titans, only a little bit more obscure, like, you know, Scooby-Doo or something like that. Like, it was like a mystery, trying to like figure out like, you know, everything. And then it had the horror element into it, so that was pretty cool. I wish I would have read it around Halloween. That would have been like the perfect like fall Halloween read for me. And who knows, like I'll just go get a copy, and instead of having the arc, I will totally get some more of these issues, because apparently this is going to be like a series, if you will, of hers. So I'm really looking forward to more of that, but 5 stars on that one. And then the last two were just like want. Like I was really disappointed in these two. So the first one is a graphic novel. It was Tron by Alice Alfonsi. Now, I have seen the movie. I absolutely love the movie. I fell in love with the detailing and just the overall story of Tron. But when I picked up the graphic novel, I was expecting it to be like this comic graphic novel setting. Well, I was sadly mistaken. It was like this, like, you know, just straightforward book, and it literally followed along exactly line by line, like what happened in the movie. There was like no surprise there. And then like on top of it, they claimed that it was a graphic novel comic, but then they just pasted pictures from the movie. So it was like, yeah, no, it was a little disappointing. And then on top of it, there was no ending to it. Like, I don't know if it was just the format that I got from the Libby app, that it just really wasn't completed or what, but there was no ending to it. So it was like, you know, what the heck, you know? So I gave that one a 1-star review. If I could give it a 0-star review, I would give it a 0-star review, because it was just that terrible, and I just did not like it. There was even typos in it. I don't know what the library was thinking. Like, come on, like, why would you have typos in, like, the publicated book? I don't know, but... And then the fact that they were, like, even, like, announcing it as a graphic novel when it clearly wasn't a graphic novel, I was just like, oh, what are you doing? Alright, and then this last one is the DNF book. It is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I just absolutely hated that book. I got 50% of the way in, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. So, it's right here. If anybody wants this copy, I am happy to send it to you. As long as you're within the US, I cannot ship internationally right now. I just wasn't really interested in it. I guess, like, I really discovered that, like, my heart and soul is really in fantasy and sci-fi and YA and adult fiction. I'm not really a big fan into contemporary, and this one, it was definitely like contemporary. I don't know. There's just some things that I just particularly don't really read, and you know, I'm like a huge advocate outside of YouTube and work and everything, like when it comes to like social issues and everything, and I don't know, I just look like when I read a book, I just want to read something outside of that, I guess. So, and this one kind of like particularly like evolved around like immigration and I think race. I think there was like a few other things. I can't remember. Like I said, I only got 50% of the way through, and I was just like really disappointed this one because it was like, oh, this is a Reese Witherspoon book club, and like everyone's talking about it, and everyone says it's fantastic, and I don't know, I just personally couldn't get into it. There was just so much emphasis around the neighborhood and how the people are, and like I'm surrounded by people like that on a daily basis. I don't really want to read something like that. So, alright, but that's it. That's it for this video. December is gonna look even greater than that, so but yeah, if you guys are new, feel free to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell, because I'm also going to announce that I am doing Bookmas, so you will be seeing a lot more of me. But yeah, until next time guys, take care, and hope you enjoyed this video, and give it a thumbs up if you thought it was awesome. If you've read any of those books in my list, feel free to leave in the comments below. I would love to have a discussion with you and see how you thought about those books as well. So, until next time guys, take care. Bye.